Hello everyone, it is a great pleasure to share with you our study entitled, The Global Burden of Leukemia, 1990 to 2021, a systematic analysis of prevalence, disability-adjusted life years, dailies, and risk factors from the Global Burden of Disease study. From a global perspective, this study systematically examined changes in the leukemia disease burden, focusing on temporal trends, subtype composition, population disparities, and attributable risk factors. As shown in the graphical abstract, this page presents the overall analytical framework and key components of the global leukemia disease burden. Data were obtained from the Global Burden of Disease 2021 study, covering 204 countries and territories. Core indicators included prevalence, age-standardized prevalence rates, disability-adjusted life years, and age-standardized daily rates. Analyses were stratified by sex, age, subtype, Sociodemographic Index, SDI, GBD region, and country. Over the past 3 decades, global age-standardized prevalence rates increased, whereas age-standardized daily rates declined overall. Males consistently bore a higher leukemia burden, while females experienced greater reductions in age-standardized daily rates. Leukemia exhibited a clear bimodal age pattern, with one peak in early childhood and a second peak in older adulthood. Across all age groups, males consistently showed higher prevalence levels than females. Marked differences were observed across leukemia subtypes. Chronic lymphocytic leukemia, CLL, accounted for the largest proportion of prevalent cases, whereas acute myeloid leukemia, AML, contributed the greatest share of global dailies in 2021. Marked differences in temporal trends were observed across SDI levels. High SDI regions exhibited higher age-standardized prevalence rates and the most pronounced declines in age-standardized daily rates, whereas middle and low SDI regions showed more limited reductions. Leukemia subtype composition differed substantially across SDI levels. High SDI regions were predominantly characterized by chronic lymphocytic leukemia, whereas low and middle SDI regions were dominated by acute leukemias, with acute myeloid leukemia contributing substantially to dailies. Substantial geographical heterogeneity was observed at the GBD regional level. In 2021, Western Europe, Australasia, and high-income North America exhibited higher age-standardized prevalence rates, whereas several sub-Saharan African regions experienced more limited declines in age-standardized daily rates from 1990 to 2021. At the country level, leukemia disease burden also showed marked spatial heterogeneity. High-income countries generally demonstrated higher age-standardized prevalence rates, while several low-income countries experienced more limited declines in age-standardized daily rates. The relative contributions of attributable risk factors varied across regions. Globally, high body mass index and tobacco use were the leading modifiable risk factors for leukemia dailies, accounting for 6.8% and 6.7%, respectively. Overall, the prevalence of leukemia showed an increasing trend, whereas the overall disease burden declined. Substantial heterogeneity persisted across populations, subtypes, sociodemographic levels, regions, and countries. High body mass index and tobacco use remained the leading modifiable factors, highlighting that future leukemia prevention and control efforts should place greater emphasis on risk factor interventions and on narrowing disparities in diagnosis and treatment across regions, in order to further reduce the global burden of leukemia.